not robots, but
Well, maybe a TI, but I'm not a TI. Oh, well, they have these super soldiers, and I'm not a super
super
soldier.
soldiers. That's it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm more like a super diplomat. But the thing is,
No.
I'm in the Illuminati. You know, I've written my book. The name of my second book is "My Family Created the National Security State," and then in
Yes.
parentheses, no need to thank me. So it's not,
Yeah.
I mean, a figment of my imagination. It's a historical record.
Yes.
Any fifth grader can look it up.
Yeah. Tell Kat who your uncle was.
Excuse me?
Tell Kat who your uncle was.
Oh,
Miles has
he
just gone on
controlled every
Skype.
dime of the defense budget of the United States for 40 years. He created the NSA, the FBI, the CIA, NASA, Manhattan Project, Operation Paperclip. I mean, you just go down the list of all these conspiracies. He personally created every one of those.
Yeah, and what was his
Wrote the
name?
check for it. George Mahon.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I always kind of figured there was something weird going on with me, and then I got a letter when I was 21 years old, and I can't really talk about that. But like most of the people in my family don't know; they're just oblivious to it. Some of them kind of maybe suspect or something like that. It's just real weird how these things work. Some people are able to handle the truth, and other people are not.
You got a letter and you can't talk about it. Why did you mention it?
Say that again.
You said you got a letter when you were 21, but you can't talk about that. Why did you even mention it?
Well, because it's okay for me to mention it. It's a man brought it to me. I think it was an FBI agent or something like this, retired FBI agent. But in the letter, it said that if I reveal the contents of the letter, then it will the different options and possibilities that could happen for me. Like if I do A, B, and C, I get D or whatever. All of that would go away as if by some as if by magic. In other words, if I revealed these things, somehow they're claiming that they would know, but it's basically the gist of it is saying that I'm on the bloodlines of the pharaonic dominators.
The what? Sorry.
Pharaonic dominators. That's
pharaonic.
Yeah. In other words, Egypt.
Yeah. Okay.
And so a lot of people that are coming into my life now, in the secret society I'm in, we get around there and we dress like Egyptians and stuff. And then, some of the women that are coming into my life right now are saying they wanting me to remember being in past lives with them and stuff like that. And I mean, I've never had that in my life. And now there's like 4 of them at the same time telling me this.
Maybe we could.
I believe a lot less things than I do now than I did 2 years ago. But those damn archons, those little gray bastards, they can't be in our atmosphere for too long. There's writings about that are even 2,000 years old, in the Gnostic texts, and they basically come in 2 forms. These archons, one of them's like a neonatal little deal, like a little abortion, which is these little gray deals, and another one is a serpent-like being, and this is of course the reptilians. So these things are absolutely real. Apparently, because they were talking about them 2,000 years ago in no uncertain terms.
Yeah. And time travel is possible too. The only I have difficulty with the time travel is that when you materialize, how do you know that when you materialize, you're not going to materialize inside a tree or something?
Right. Yeah. You'd want to have some, coordinates or something like this. Well, what about, the Bigfoot, how they do it? I don't know how their portals work, but if they know that there's a portal like between that rock and between that tree and they run through there and then they just come out somewhere else, You
need, if you're going to time travel, you need to be able to look ahead to see where you're going to materialize, don't you?
Well, yeah, but I don't necessarily think that jumping through portals and stuff like that is necessarily the same as time travel. I don't know. Time travel is something that's hard for me to wrap my head around. And it's something that there's a lot of disinformation about, like Andrew Bashago. Have you heard of him?
I'm not sure.
Well, his dad was in DARPA, but he's the guy that does all these Mars jump rooms and stuff like that, And of course, Corey Good is saying all that stuff. But Corey Good, I think he's just full of shit.
Uh-huh.
I've called him out on a couple of my videos, and there's other people calling him out. You know, like Miles Johnston is calling him out. Some of the biggest names in conspiracy are calling him out because he's basically making us all look ridiculous. And he's making a ton of money. He's got their own show on Gaia TV, and they do these Contact in the Desert. They do these big deals. He's just got a good story.
Basiago, you mean? Andrew Basiago.
I don't know if I'm sure he's somehow controlled by somebody, but, you know, his name is Corey Good, but he works with David Wilcock. Have you ever heard of David Wilcock? He's a guy who's been writing books for years. He's been on Ancient Aliens a few times. He's a real egghead. He's a blonde-headed guy that's real full of himself, kind of a little mousy guy. And he's been writing books for years, but now he's on board with Corey Good. You know, they're doing it together.
I don't like that guy. He looks like an idiot to me.
Who?
The blonde guy.
Oh yeah, David Wilcock. Yeah, he's not a dumbass. He's actually very smart, but he rubs a lot of people the wrong way. I don't care for him too much.
Yeah. There's an article here about Basiago saying that CIA used time travel for seeing Trump win. Shock claims from ex-presidential candidates.
Well, you know, Stuart Swerdlow was claiming the same thing, you know, that they're putting him in, he was going back in time and stuff like that. And Stuart Swerdlow he's got it. He goes all around the world healing people. He said he doesn't heal them, you know, he helps them to heal themselves, you know, because he didn't want to get any medical malpractice, but he's a clairvoyant and he can read archetypes and all this shit. And the government put him through a premature Kundalini activation.
Did you know about Project Pegasus?
About what?
Project Pegasus.
Oh yeah, that's what Andrew Bishago. That's what he talks about. Project Pegasus. His dad was in charge of Project Pegasus. And another part of his story, he claims that there were some young kids and everything like that, and they were doing it. And one of the kids that he was doing it with was a young man named Barry Suerto. You know who that is?
Yeah.
Barack Obama. He's claiming that Barack Obama was doing that shit back when they were like 15 to 16 years old. I mean, there's some stuff to it that does sound compelling and does sound true. But like this one guy that was, I can't remember his name, but he was one of the doctors or one of the scientists that did it. He went back and they sent him back to, you know, Lincoln's assassination. Well, he got alone in a room and he started tearing up the carpet and stuff, and he found shit from Home Depot in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were doing something to him, but they were building the set, you know, and having actors and all that shit. They weren't really going back in time. And I'm not saying you can't go back in time, but at least some of the times they were not going back in time. They were just fooling them.
Okay.
Just like with those aliens, you know, they try to fool you that you're getting taken up there by an alien, and it's really a bunch of guys in military uniforms sometimes.
Yes.
It's hard to know what's real and what's not.
Yes. Oh, I'm hot. I got a fever, I think.
You got a fever?
I got a bad chest and a bad throat, and got the flu.
Do you ever eat like real hot peppers? Does that make you feel better when you have a fever?
No, I never eat peppers. I eat baked beans a lot.
Are you thinking, you know, they loosen up your sinuses and everything like that? You know, but I mean, here in Texas, we eat hot food all the time. You know what I mean? Like,
I use this for my sinuses.
What's that?
Stuff it is. It's all bass oil.
Oh, okay.
Really good stuff.
You just
don't get it in your eyes.
Up your nose?
I just dab it under my nostrils like this.
Oh, it has a real strong smell.
Yeah. Here's my chest and my nostrils.
Yeah.
Wonderful stuff.
I'll tell you what, you ought to try eating a jalapeno pepper. You know, you beat a jalapeno pepper. I mean, your mouth will just be on fire. You'll be crying and everything. Man, all that stuff will just come loose.
Oh, I eat jalapeno.
My throat's already on fire.
Fun.
You know about that, don't you, Kat?
Yeah,
You're not feeling good?
Yeah, I just chow them down like they're nobody's business. My dad, he grows them in his garden.
Yeah, the only thing that'll put out that fire is milk. You know, I just drink milk, you know, to try to make that make it go away.
How do you fancy? How do you fancy, Ian, if I put you into a trance and see if I can get you onto the flight deck of the flying saucer somewhere?
Oh, you mean if you can get me onto a flying saucer?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that. I would, if I would, I would attack whatever the entities are. I would attack them and kill them if they came within my sight. I don't.
Why would you do that?
Because of what I am. I don't know what I am, but I mean, I'm not gonna tolerate any like type of threats or anything like that. And
well, hold on. They might have the secret of the universe for you.
well,
Who says they're going to threaten you?
They can give it to me through a human being.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, if I get it, if I see one of those little insectoids or mantis or whatever, I'll break his neck right off the bat.
Well, you might, if you go onto the flight deck of flying saucer. First of all, you don't know whose flying saucer it's going to be. It might be one of ours.
Well, yeah, don't get me wrong. I want a flying saucer. I'm going to end up with one. So, yeah, put me in one. Yeah, I bet whoever's in there is going out the window.
And you wouldn't physically be on it because you'd still be sat there. It would only be your mind interacting on the flying saucer. So you'd be able to see in there. They might not even know you were there. In fact, they probably wouldn't know you were there.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that with that remote viewing that the people go in, and operatives and everything go into these spaceships and start wreaking havoc on some of these dang, whatever.
Yeah, we might persuade them to fly it down to your backyard so you can get a closer look at it.
Yeah. Oh, you think you can make one materialize in my backyard?
I don't know. We'd have to get you on board first of all.
We'd have to do what?
We'd have to get you on board first of all.
Oh, you mean like hypnotize me or what?
Yes. I've done that with whether a high court or a circuit court judge in the USA. I regressed him and started talking with a high level entity. Now, I can't say that was on a flying saucer, but I can say that it was a high order entity. So you might call that an alien, for want of a better word. So where the alien was is anybody's guess. But he certainly wasn't human.
Or something like that,
Sorry?
An angel.
I don't know what the entity was, but it certainly wasn't human.
Yes, well, the thing is, if it's an entity of a higher order that's somehow able to fill your heart with love and peace and stuff like that, then I wouldn't be able to attack it anyway. So.
Well, I'm not sure whether he's full of love and peace, but he was certainly short-tempered. He thought that we were wasting his time with answers we already had.
Yeah.
But he wasn't unwelcoming. He was nurturing and gave us guidance and let us know that my client already had everything he needed where we were. So with that guidance, I was still able to help him.
Yeah, they're already waiting for me. This is all this is coming. All this is, I don't know exactly what the plan is or anything like that, but yeah, they know more about it than I do.
But he let us know that he was smarter than us, and his time was too valuable for us to be wasting it. I say he; it could have been a she, or more of a. When we use terms like he and she, that's probably wrong, because who's to say it was he or a she?
Yeah, a lot of these androgyny is a big subject in the occult. The idea that the person, for instance, all of us in another, not life, but whatever you want to call it in heaven, are like actually male and female. In the same.
Well, it's an earthly concept, isn't it? In terms of spirit, you don't need to be male or female. You need to be.
Yeah, Jesus has some sayings about that, bride in heaven and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's really just you, or an aspect of you that's more played down because of you're either incarnated as a man or a woman, and so that other side is, played down.
What do you think? Yeah, what do you think of this conversation, Kat?
Oh, I find it very interesting.
Really?
Yeah, just absorbing a lot of.
You're not finding it a little off the wall for a Sunday morning?
No. It's going to be very interesting, especially right before my church service.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I'm a Christian, by the way.
That's fine, and I'm not. I said, just as I said in that video today, Keith, that you're in, not in the part where you and me are talking, but I'm not a Christian, but I'm pro-Christian. In other words, I'm for the Christians. Especially imagine if there was like crusades or something, and everybody had to jump on one side of the line of Islam or Christianity. Well, you know what side I would jump on? It'd be the Christian side, for real.
But I don't shove my beliefs down anybody's throat. I'm not like that. I'm not a.
That's good.
I don't like take a Bible and shove it down somebody's throat with my.
That's one big deal about this deal with the order and everything, Keith, and all the rituals we do and everything like that. At least ceremonial, we're supposed to be like the new Knights Templar. You know what I mean? But what I'm starting to suspect is that we're like, or at least some of us are like reborn Knights Templar, betrayed by the Catholic Church and, crusading for God or whatever they were, crusading for.
Yeah. What's the name of that group that you're in? Is it LOL? Is it that you're in? Is that what it's called?
The order that I'm in?
Yes.
The OTO. The Order Templi Orientis. Means the order of the Eastern Temple.
Okay. Yeah,
that's how you orient yourself, is from the Eastern, the sun comes up in the East, So.
Yeah, so pyramids, they're all over the world, even on the moon.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And I've been fortunate enough to go to 3 of the top 7 in the world sites.
Yeah.
And that's Chichen Itza and Teotihuacan. And then that one, I can't really say the name of it, but it's in Peru.
They've got them in the Antarctic as well, but they don't talk about that too much.
They say there's a bunch of Germans down there too. I don't know, a bunch of Nazis. I don't know.
Yes.
I know there's lots of Germans in South America. That's no lie. In Argentina.
Adolf Hitler too.
Yeah, that's what they say. I mean, one thing's for sure: whoever's body that was that they found, it wasn't Adolf Hitler's body. That's for sure.
No, he's not a man who's going to kill himself.
Right. Not only that, he had a bunch of doubles and stuff, So.
Yes. Yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, he was a kitten cat compared to Churchill. I don't like Churchill at all.
Yeah, and some really hard stuff has come out about that, like about how the Allies treated German prisoners of war and stuff.
Yes.
Starved them.
It's appalling.
Starved them to death and stuff.
Yes. I say we, it was the military who treated German people and children and women really badly. We were worse than the Nazis, as far as from what I've seen.
Yeah, they're getting some indications of that. So I mean, god dang, the whole World War II, it was just obviously it happened, but god dang, it was mostly just a bunch of lies. What we know about it now, from beginning to end.
And Adolf Hitler wanted peace. From the studies I've done, he wanted peace throughout the Second World War. He didn't even want to go to war.
Yeah, and yet he's framed as the aggressor.
It's the biggest load of propaganda that there's ever been, which was waged by America and by the UK.
Yeah, and he was probably related to Churchill distantly, and also related to Stalin.
Yes.
They've come out with that too, you know. I mean, every president of the United States, is save just two or three, has a direct relation to the Queen of England.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
it's ridiculous.
the war was a completely financial thing, like all wars.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
If you eliminate the bank, there'd be no war.
Right. Well, see, the bank was brought about by the Templars, this organization I was telling you about, fighting in the Crusades and stuff. Those were your original banksters.
It's like a casino. If you remove the bank, you've got no casino.
That's right. Making money for nothing.
Yeah. Like the song.
Chicks for free.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, what do you mean be on board? Do you mean be on board with some organization, or be on board? Do you mean by get hypnotized? I didn't understand what you meant by be on board.
Oh, be on board. No, I'm just saying that when I do QHHT, quantum healing hypnotherapy, we communicate with higher order levels of your subconscious mind, your higher consciousness, and when we do that, then we invite how can I explain this? You understand the concept that there is only a single consciousness, which ultimately is what we know as God.
Yeah, that we're all connected. There is no separation. My energy healing lady,
right.
she presses that point home quite a bit.
Yeah. So a lot of people like to think about. Sorry, very dry throat. A lot of people like to think about going into past life regression and going backwards into their past lives. I like to think about going the other way, going up into a higher order intelligence, our superconscious mind. And the higher up you go, the closer you can get to God. And when the higher up you go, the more intelligent the lives are that you're talking to. And potentially you're talking then with your own superconscious, your higher level intelligence, and you're talking to the Akashic record. You know the Akasha? And that's the cosmic library where there is everything that there is to know. And this is where people like Nikola Tesla went to find out the stuff he knew.
Yep.
He would just sit down and close his mind and empty his mind of all thoughts, and that would give him access to the Akasha.
That's
and all the library
in your mind of all these thoughts. That's what I'd have a hard time doing.
Yeah, well, that's what we do with hypnosis. And so I would help you raise your vibration level so that you can get access to these higher levels. And when you do that, then all that knowledge can come in, and sometimes higher level entities come in, which might mean that entities who might be in flying saucers might come to talk to you.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a, it sounds a little scary. Some people say, though, it's what you make of it. You know what I mean? If you face it with all this joy and stuff, it's a real joyful. If you face it with anger, it's angry. If you face it with fear, it's fearful. I don't know. Is that true?
Well, I would hope that you face it with open mind and with joy and with love in you. And when you do that, then that's what you get back. if you're not of that kind of a person, then I wouldn't be doing it with you at all. That wouldn't be wise.
Yeah, they can throw that damn wall of fear on you if they want to. Some of them can.
Well, I would bring you out if that was happening. That's not a problem. That's very easy to do.
Very, subjective, I guess, from one person to the next.
It's different for everybody.
I would like to use the hypnotic powers to increase my musical powers, my musical genius, and also to maybe increase my my bodybuilding activities or something like that. Really, just to increase a lot of things. I would be down with that. I could think of clear cut, goals and incentives and intent. Intent for why I would be interested in something like that.